98.2 FM Dian Suara Purwokerto come closer to you.
Hi, what's up, guys? Welcome to our 15th episode of SEF Indisc Podcast, a podcast that can be your Saturday soulmate. So, like in the previous episode, today we will accompany your Saturday night. Yay! With me, Puti, and here I am with my partner.
Bina is here, and tonight we also have our special guest that will accompany us. But before that, what are we gonna talk about for today's episode, Kaputi?
Yeah, actually, in this episode, we will talk about something that's really happening this day. And I think the majority of our generation have experienced this. Guess what? We will talk about burnout.
Wow, burnout. That's gonna be an interesting topic to discuss, especially for someone who are struggle in college like us. Alright, now we call our guest today, Mr. Zaldi. Hello, Mr. Zaldi. Welcome to SEF Indisc Podcast. How are you today, sir?
Amazing. Thanks to inviting me in this podcast.
You're welcome. It's actually an honor for us for having you in this podcast. So everyone, Mr. Zaldi is a psychology lecturer in Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto.
I know you guys already excited to talk with Mr. Zaldi. But before that, about burnout, maybe some of us still don't know what burnout actually is. So Bina, can you explain about burnout in a bit?
Okay, before we're going to our main topic, I will give you an explanation what burnout is in general. So, burnout is a state of emotional, physical, mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It usually occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. As the stress continues, you will begin to lose the interest and motivation that led you to take on a certain role in the first place. And after that, burnout can reduce your productivity and saps your energy, leaving you feeling increasingly helpless, hopeless, cynical, and resentful. Eventually, you may feel like you have nothing more to give. So that's what burnout in general.
Wow, I think that's really actually a condition that's often felt by students like us, right? But for Mr. Zaldi, what do you think about burnout, sir?
Burnout, yeah. Burnout is a syndrome conceptual as resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. The condition, such as feeling of energy depletion and then increased mental distance from one's job or feeling of negativism related to one's job, and the last, reduced professional efficacy.
Wow, I never heard of those before. It was my first time actually. Thank you for explaining to us, sir. And I ever read an article before. According to the article of Information Health, burnout is a gradual process. So it doesn't happen overnight, but it can creep up on people who are suffering from that. The signs and symptoms are subtle at first, and it becomes worse as the time goes on. In your opinion, what are the beginning symptoms that can lead us in a stage of burnout?
In my opinion, many symptoms can lead burnout, but everyone have different condition about burnout. So I can explain one by one. In the first, sometimes withdrawing from responsibility and then isolating yourself from other, and then procrastinating, taking longer to get things done, and then using food, drugs, or alcohol, and then talking out your frustration on other, and the last, keeping work or coming in late and leaving early.
Wow, me or maybe some of us can relate with the procrastinating, especially because of the online activity. We are all doing our stuff, our college stuff, our working in a home. So it means we got so many distraction for doing our tasks. But in your opinion, what do you consider to be the main reason why students or working people often feel burnout?
Okay, many reasons student and working people feel burnout actually. First, or main reason in personality trait with an increased risk of developing burnout syndrome, such as perfectionist attitude, low expectation of competency, very pronounced need for harmony, believe that they are being controlled from outside, and the last, frustration grows over time.
Wow, okay, some of us maybe already felt all the syndrome, but some of us also maybe still do not aware about what we feel every day. So, do you have any suggestions for the people that suffer from burnout, sir?
The first, identify what you need to add, and then reach out to your friend and family member, and then get outside for 20 minutes a day for sport activities such as running, jogging, and the last, limited your social media.
That's really great suggestion. I think we should take a note just in case we need it someday. Lastly, after we know about the information of burnout, do you have any advice for the young generation so they will not feel burnout, sir?
For protect our mental health, first we must work out or sport activity every day, 20 till 30 minutes every day, and then reach out to your friend and family member for socialization, such as chit chat. And the last, we must close our gut because without gut, you are nobody. If you have problem back to the gut, it's simple.
Okay, so that's an advice from Pak Zaldi about to protect our mental health. We must work out and doing some sport activity at least 20 until 30 minutes in a day. And don't forget also to socialize with your friends and family for talking about something and discussing about something. And the important thing is we must close to our God. So to wrap up our tonight's podcast, there are some points that you can remember that life is still going on, even though you are feeling that you are in the lowest point of your life, you think that you are nobody, but the important thing is you should not worry a lot about something that you can control and keep going on what you want to pursue.
Like what Mr. Zaldi said, the burnout is actually syndrome conceptualized as a resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed, and the main reason is personality trait with an increase of risk developing burnout syndrome. But don't worry, it can be helped with some great suggestions from Mr. Zaldi before.
Okay, so that was our tonight's podcast about burnout. Thank you to Mr. Zaldi that already joined us tonight and give your insight and discuss with us about our topic burnout.
And for those of you who are in the stage of burnout now, I hope after you listening our podcast tonight, we could help you out and you guys can get through it soon and feel better.
Thank you for listening and don't forget to check our Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube channel to stay updated about another episode of SEF Indisc Podcast. And of course, with our another amazing announcer and amazing guest star.
Stuff in this podcast,
A podcast that can be your
your
sad night
night
soulmate.
soulmate.
Have a good Saturday night, everyone.